You can tell a lot about a man by the boundaries he keeps. Most people talk a big game about personal space, about respecting their time, but they fold the moment someone pushes back. The average person lets their lines get blurred, their rules get bent, and their sacred spaces get invaded. They're so focused on fitting into the social hierarchy, they forget to protect the one thing that truly matters: themselves. A Sigma male, however, operates on an entirely different level. He doesn't seek validation from a group, so he has no reason to compromise his core. For a Sigma, boundaries aren't suggestions, they're the bedrock of his existence. Crossing them isn't a minor social faux pas, it's a declaration of disrespect that he simply will not tolerate. In this video, we're going to break down the 6 non-negotiable boundaries a Sigma male will never allow you to cross, and what happens when you try. We'll expose the raw, unfiltered truth of why his rules are so rigid, and why it's not just a preference, but a survival strategy. If you stick around until the very end, you'll understand exactly what it takes to earn the trust of the man who walks alone, and what happens when you lose it forever. The sanctuary of self, why personal space is non-negotiable. Most people view personal space as physical distance, a polite buffer in a crowded room. But for a Sigma, personal space is his mental and emotional fortress. It is the sacred zone for recharging, for cultivating his thoughts, and for maintaining his energy. An uninvited intrusion, no matter how small, is not a minor inconvenience. It is a serious offense that disrupts his very core rhythm and is treated as a breach of trust. This deep-seated need for solitude is a strategic advantage. While others require constant interaction and validation from their social circles, a Sigma uses his time alone to analyze, plan, and perfect his moves in silence. He's not being antisocial. He's building a clear, unbiased perspective, free from the distractions and noise of the outside world, which makes his eventual actions and decisions incredibly powerful. When this boundary is violated, it tells the Sigma that you fundamentally misunderstand his nature. It shows that you value your momentary need for connection over his essential need for space. The consequence is immediate. He will quietly withdraw and create distance. To him, your actions are a direct threat to his operational integrity, and he will not hesitate to protect it. A partner who texts constantly during his alone time will be blocked. The unyielding will, why a Sigma male will never surrender their autonomy. The average man is conditioned to operate within a chain of command, to take orders, and to seek permission from authority figures. But the Sigma male is fundamentally wired differently. His independence is his most protected trait, and he is a kingdom unto himself. He doesn't reject authority out of defiance. He rejects it because it's illogical to him. Any attempt to control his path, to guide him, or to micromanage his actions is met with unwavering resistance. This fierce independence is powerful because it makes the Sigma impossible to predict or manipulate. While others are easily swayed by a charismatic leader or the promise of belonging, the Sigma operates on his own internal compass. He disrupts power balances by simply existing outside of them, forcing others to engage with him on his own terms or not at all. This forces everyone around him to realize their traditional methods of influence are completely useless. When you try to take the reins from a Sigma, the consequences are swift and final. People who attempt to control him find themselves hitting a wall. He won't argue. He will simply withdraw his energy and his presence. He becomes emotionally unavailable, and his silence becomes a clear statement that your attempt to limit his self-direction has led to his immediate exit. This causes frustration and confusion for those who don't understand that for a Sigma, surrendering his autonomy feels like suffocation. A micromanaging boss gets quiet resistance and his resignation notice. The single strike. What happens when you break a Sigma's trust? For most people, trust is a flexible concept, something that can be damaged and then repaired with apologies and second chances. For a Sigma, trust is a meticulously earned privilege
based on careful observation and choice. When it's given, it's a testament to your character. But once that trust is broken, it's gone for good. There's no lengthy explanations, no second chances, and no long conversations about what happened. There is only silence and distance. This finality is a powerful trait because it is a direct line of defense against emotional chaos. The Sigma male lives by patterns and predictable behavior. Betrayal introduces emotional risk and unreliability, which he meticulously avoids. He doesn't need to stay and process the mess. His initial decision was based on logic, and the breach of that logic signals a final, irreversible conclusion. This breaks the power dynamic of emotional negotiation that most people rely on. When you break a Sigma's trust, you don't get to explain your way back in. People feel confused and helpless because the usual social tools of persuasion and reconciliation don't work. The consequence is absolute. The bond is severed, and you are left to face the finality of your action alone. This causes a kind of social fear in others as they realize their influence and words have no power over him. A broken promise results in immediate and total ghosting. The uncompromising core, why disrespecting a Sigma's values leads to disappearance. Where most people's values are a mixture of what they've been told and what is socially convenient, a Sigma's core beliefs are forged from his own real-world experiences, deep thinking, and personal choice. His values are not open for debate. They are the anchors of his identity, and to mock or challenge them is not a disagreement, it's a profound lack of respect for who he is. This uncompromising core makes a Sigma immune to manipulation and social pressure. While others might bend their beliefs to fit in, the Sigma's integrity is his most valuable currency. This disrupts the social dynamic as people expect to be able to influence you through persuasion or social shaming. The Sigma, however, simply holds his ground, exposing the weakness in their tactics. The consequence is a swift and permanent exit. A Sigma will not engage in an argument over his core beliefs because to him there is nothing to discuss. The moment you disrespect his values, he sees that you disrespect him, and he will shut down the conversation and remove himself from the relationship entirely. He will never allow external gain or approval to come at the cost of his own identity. Joking about his core beliefs causes him to leave the room.
The Sacred Retreat: Why Interrupting a Sigma's Solitude is a Relationship Killer. Where most people can't stand being alone for long, mistaking solitude for loneliness, the Sigma male views it as a vital need. It is his sacred time to retreat and recharge, a non-negotiable space where he can reflect, process, and cultivate his best self. This is not loneliness. This is where he feels most alive and whole. To interrupt this sacred time is not just a nuisance, it is a profound violation of his energy and trust. This need for solitude is a quiet source of power. While the crowd is constantly drained by social obligations and small talk, the Sigma is regenerating and strengthening his mind. This independence from social energy disrupts expectations, as others are often confused by a man who seems to thrive without constant external stimulation or validation. When you repeatedly violate a Sigma's solitude, you are draining his emotional battery and disrespecting a core part of his identity. People who do this find that he becomes emotionally distant and detached. The consequence is a quiet, gradual withdrawal. He will not start an argument. He will simply begin to quietly lock the door, emotionally and physically, leading to the ultimate termination of the connection because he cannot function in a relationship that does not respect his fundamental needs. Uninvited calls or visits will cause him to become emotionally distant. The self-made path, why challenging a Sigma's self-reliance guarantees their exit. The average person often seeks help from others or looks to be rescued from their problems, but the Sigma takes profound pride in being self-made. His strength is built on a foundation of figuring things out on his own and rising from his own failures. Offering unsolicited help or attempting to take the wheel is often interpreted as a direct challenge to his competence, a signal that you believe he cannot succeed alone. This self-reliance is powerfully disruptive because it breaks the traditional social contract of mutual dependency. The Sigma doesn't need others to solve his problems, which means he is not indebted to anyone. This causes fear in others as they realize they cannot gain leverage over him by helping him, and he cannot be controlled through pity or a sense of obligation. The consequence is a swift and total withdrawal. If you try to manage a Sigma's life, he won't be grateful. He will simply step away entirely. He sees your attempt to save him as an insult to his strength and a threat to his most fundamental trait. His capacity for self-reliance is his identity, and he will protect it at all costs. Unsolicited advice makes him go quiet and walk away. When you understand these boundaries, you realize why the Sigma male is a force of nature. His power isn't in what he projects, but in what he protects. The quiet competence, the unyielding will, the sacred retreat. These aren't weaknesses. They are his tactical advantages. Fear doesn't always come from aggression. Sometimes it comes from the silence, the clarity, and the absolute control that you possess. When you don't need anyone or anything, your presence alone changes the game. Don't mistake silence for weakness. Thank you so much for watching.